Hello everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Jesse. I'm here today with my guest, Lai Wei-Sheng.
Yeah! Hello everyone, hi Jesse. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's been good to hear it. So Wei-Sheng is a comedian, if you've not been able to tell by that reaction. Comedian from Taiwan, and you're here in Los Angeles for how long?
For just 4 months.
4 months, nice.
Yeah.
So this has been great. We were able to meet and do some Chinese language shows and English language shows.
Yeah.
Did you do the English too?
Yeah, I'm also doing English stand-up in here right now.
Nice.
I'm just trying, yeah.
Nice. We're going to talk the comedy scenes in Taiwan, see how it's different from the mainland, see how it's different from the United States.
Yeah, of course.
And I figured if we're going to do Taiwan, this is actually a good opportunity to drink some Taiwan Oolong.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So what's your tea experience? It's okay if you know nothing about tea, but what is the tea experience?
To be honest, tea experience, I'm a virgin.
You're a complete virgin.
Complete virgin.
That's so funny.
Yeah, this is my first time.
So
I'm gonna give you my first time.
How could you grow up in Taiwan and never drink Oolong?
I don't know, because whenever we wanna drink some tea, we just go to 50, we just go to the, I don't know how to say that, the Boba shop.
Boba shop,
yeah,
which is very popular in
we just
Taiwan.
go to Boba shop.
But the real idea, 纯茶叶，这个好，我这给你做个好的啊，
这绝对好。
Yeah. So the Taiwan Oolong box we have in January, I went to Taiwan, and in addition to doing the comedy shows, I also picked out 4 oolong teas. We have a Hong Oolong, which is interesting from Luye. We have a Alishan Jinxuan, so like an Alishan milk oolong.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 oolongs we have are these, which is the charcoal roasted. So this is the tanbei, the traditional charcoal roasting method. This is roasted twice, so it's kind of roasty. And then the second half we'll do a 5 times roast, which is very roasty.
I can't wait to taste that 5 times.
It'll be really good. So we'll start with this, which is a little bit more accessible, and we'll go from it. Also, if you guys got my oolong box and are like, why is it so small? They're all rolled up. So the oolong is rolled this way so you can keep it airtight and keep it packed really tightly together. And so you don't need that much tea to make the tea. You'll see how much these expand. This actually might be too much. So you don't need a whole lot of tea in order to make it. So we'll get started with that.
Oolong is actually my favorite tea.
Tell people about the boba tea shops in Taiwan, because it's a huge thing. There's so many boba tea shops.
So the boba tea shop in Taiwan is so popular in each generations. Like whenever we own somebody a favor, we just buy them a boba. Let me buy you a drink.
I'll give you 买个奶茶.
Like people in America, they always drink every meal, like no matter lunch and dinner, they drink a cocktail. But in Taiwan, we drink boba tea.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah, that's just everywhere. And even the boba tea shop in Taipei is so competitive. Yeah,
you can't really have a bad one and get away with it.
Yeah, you can't really have a bad one. It's just a good one and a better one, and your best one in your mind. Yeah.
Take a sniff. Here we go.
Oh, smell really good, really good.
How do you describe the flavor?
Before oolong, I like to taste black tea. Yeah. But for me, oolong will be more sweeter. I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah.
Because I like to taste the oolong. At first, I can taste the sweet, but at the end,
it has an aftertaste.
Yeah, aftertaste. I like that aftertaste.
The oolong aftertaste is really interesting. I think it's definitely the thing that makes it different from green tea and then different from the red tea, the hong cha, the black tea. It's halfway. It's 半发酵茶, so it's half fermented. So green tea is not fermented at all, 没有发酵. And then 红茶 is 全发酵, it's fully发酵. Yeah. So it's a Taiwan口音. 发酵 is fermented. Yeah. But that's funny. In Taiwan they say 发酵. Right? 发酵. 我这露出来了，我这北京的口音。
中国说发酵。
发酵. So this is also one of the things I'm learning still about the Taiwanese Mandarin is I have to change the way I say half the stuff. There's no 地铁, there's like 捷运
MRT, MRT system.
But anyway, so this because it's 半发酵 or partially fermented, the flavor is somewhere between a green tea and a red tea. And part of that process of doing all the rolling, the kneading, the things they do to make the tea is that it has that interesting aftertaste.
So oolong is kind of like the the mix of the green tea and black tea.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, so it's the same leaves.
Yeah.
They're all the same. It's all camellia sinensis.
Yeah.
It's all like cha shu. But the way that they deal with it after it gets picked is different, which is what creates that special flavor. So I did a wash, 洗了茶洗了一遍, and then we'll be drinking the second one. So as we get started, so you do comedy, stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into comedy while living in Taiwan and what the Taiwanese comedy scene is like.
So my first stand-up comedy experience was when I was in senior high school.
Okay.
Like 17 years old, because when I was in 17 years old, I really wanted to be an actor. But I have no chance when I went to a lot of audition. But then there's a comedy club called, it's just called Comedy Club. Comedy in Taipei.
So I met the comedy people. I performed at comedy in 2014.
Oh,
a long time ago. I met Socio and all the other people from the
Social. Yes, Social is the founder of Comedy Club, and he started a class and he teaches us how to do stand-up in Taiwan, although he got nothing at all about stand-up comedy because he has no experience, but he just loves it. So then he has a lot of students like Brian, which is the most famous stand-up comedian in Taiwan, and there's a lot of comedian because of him and me. And
it all kind of started up.
And I also, because of him, then I went to that class.
That's great.
And then he gave us a lot of stage opportunity in Taipei. Then I just go on stage, go on mics, and then.
And then 7 years later, you're in Los Angeles.
There
we go. Cheers. Welcome to LA.
Thanks, Jesse.
Here we go. Welcome to the USA. Very nice. So this is sweet. What do you think?
It's actually just blow my mind, you know.
Is it good?
Because when I was a kid, I don't like to drink tea. It's because it's too hot for me. But right now, I don't know if it's because of age, and then I can taste a different flavor in just a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Like coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that's like the real good tea, and Taiwan has a lot of really good oolong.
Yeah.
They spend so much time and energy to try to create that flavor, and they do it really well. And in Taiwan, you have a lot of people, like the people we work with. This is Di Sandai. These are third generation oolong tea makers that are making this. This is from Dongding Mountain.
Oh.
So we have like really good tea mountains, good tea makers, and that all kind of combines.
In Taiwan?
Yeah.
Oh. I still think it is so strange because I'm Taiwanese and I don't know nothing at all.
Yeah. You gotta keep up on the tea game.
Yeah, I gotta learn more about tea. So I have a question. Is that so? Is there any oolong in Mainland China?
Yeah, so they have like the Lan Taiwanese. It's actually quite similar to some of the Taiwanese because a lot of the Minnan people, these people, a lot of them came to Taiwan, 300 years ago or whatever. So there's there's a similar kind of background to it, and then there's also certain oolongs that are used to be popular in Taiwan, and then people in the mainland started planting them. So like the Dongfang Meiren, they have Dongfang Meiren from Taiwan and Dongfang Meiren from mainland. So anyway, well, back to the comedy. So what got you interested as a Taiwanese high schooler to do stand-up comedy?
For me, it must take some balls to do that, right? So for me, every performance, every night, it's so exciting. Yeah, because as a 17 years old, I believe I was the most youngest comedian in Taiwan then, just for 1 year. And whenever I got stage and say anything that I want to say about the reality, about the issue, everyone will think that I'm not agree with you because you're just a child.
You're too young.
You're too young, but you are so cute.
That's funny.
You're
so cute.
Yeah, but you are so cute. So everyone will be like, instead for that, haha, they'll be like,
This is funny. So as comedians, we really care not just about the laugh, but what type of laugh we get.
What type?
Right? So like I always, when I was in China, I would always be like, I want a real laugh. I don't want to. You know, like,
这老外中文说得正好。
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I would always be kind of like mingan. I would be like sensitive about what type of laugh I get.
Yeah.
I've kind of chilled about that a little bit, but when I was younger, I was like, I want you to laugh for the right reasons. Like, did it make you annoyed that people didn't trust what you were saying when you were young and doing stand-up?
That's actually pretty annoying to me.
Yeah,
because, you know, especially for teenagers, we always want to prove ourselves like, I can actually do stand-up in front of so many people. I can really do that. No, we cannot.
Yeah.
So I have to create more experience. And in that moment, I found that as a teenager, I cannot just say what I want to say. I have to know what kind of the audience want me to say as a teenager.
Yeah.
So maybe when I was a teenager, the topic I want to say is I want to, you know, have a good college, have a good girl in that moment. But the audience, most of the audience will want to know what about the school system that you want to talk and compare to our the issue that we cared about. I have to do more to connect. To connect with the audience thoughts.
Because it's interesting. It's like people think, oh, there might be interesting topics here, but the way you go about the topic matters. Because if you're just like, here's the problem with applying for college. Well, most of the people in the audience are not applying for college. So they understand you care, but they might not care.
They might care.
Whereas if you talk about the school system or like education in Taiwan, or like, what does it mean? Like, you know, like, I don't like tests or whatever. Like, you know, you need to find a way to get them. They're like, oh, I remember the tests. You know,
like, I don't like tests. Just like people in Taiwan don't like to vote because blah, 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 blah.
And then you bring it in. So you got your start doing these stand-ups and you said, you know, you wanted to do it because it took balls. Do you feel like doing stand-up made you ballsier?
Absolutely. It actually gave me the ball to come here in LA, to do more stuff, to explore more stuff. Because the reason why I do stand-up is because I just want to try everything. I just want to play every different character and play every different issue, and also express all my thoughts, and not just in one country, not just in Taiwan, and especially I want to travel all around the world to see what's going on in the world.
And stand-up's actually really great for that because anywhere you go, there's a comedy club. So if you can get like 5 to 10 good minutes together wherever you go in the world, you can meet some new friends, you can go to the comedy club and kind of get into like society, which is good. So how has it been so far being in LA? So you started your career in Taiwan. Now you came to LA just for fun, to try to get better. Why are you here in LA?
The first reason is I also wanna study more acting skill to strengthen my skill in stand-up. So at first I have two choices, like NY or LA. But then I want to learn more acting for TV and film, this kind of stuff. So that's why I choose LA. And then it's also because LA has a lot of resources about stand-up comedy. So I'm trying to start some English stand-up in here. And then it's so lucky that I met you and the other Mandarin stand-up.
We have a little like Lai Wei-Sheng that we run here of we're trying to start up the Chinese language comedy scene in LA. Depending on when you see this, we may have a show coming up soon. If we do, put it right here and put it in the bio editor as we go on. If we don't, keep this just because it's funny for me to be doing this for nothing.
But we'll have a show together.
So you started doing English and Chinese, and I always, you know, I do comedy in both languages. What do you like about doing Chinese language stand-up, and what do you like about doing English language stand-up?
Really good question. Okay. I enjoy doing Mandarin stand-up is because we can still create so many jokes type in Mandarin, because Mandarin hasn't have a really complete stand-up system. Right now we're just creating the market just
It's
just-
new.
It's just took off right now. And for English, everybody has already have the culture of stand-up. So everybody will assume that, oh, whenever a guy go on stage, he will be like, hello everyone, blah blah blah, my name is blah blah. And how do those people break the stereotype of English stand-up? That's the thing that I'm most excited about. Yeah, but in Mandarin, I really like to talking about the pun, the pun jokes. Because the pun,
the language is really good for punning.
Yeah, the language, the Mandarin is really good for punning.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it has so many different ways. And Taiwanese really enjoy that kind of joke. Even at first, because we learn English stand-up at first, we watch so many documentary, and stand-up special. So we'll be like, oh, pun is not really a joke. We will avoid to write.
The Western comedy scene really doesn't like puns.
Yeah.
They think like they're like, oh, they're 太低级了. Although they would say it in English. They'd be like, that's what they say in English is that's hack. That's like 套路. But like I kind of don't get it because I personally think after coming back to the US, like I love that people use comedy as a way to talk about society and politics. I love that about American comedy. But sometimes it's too much about that.
Of course.
It's like people forgot that yes, this is a way to talk about society, but if you're a comedian, people should be laughing. Like there should be some jokes here.
Yeah, the people just want some little chill vibe. Oh I know that joke. I don't have to read some newspaper to know that joke.
And so it's for me, it's like the best ones are kind of both. It's like really silly, but you can still talk about stuff. So you now have started doing English stand-up. Describe your first time doing English stand-up in America and what it was like.
This is actually the first time that I feel that feeling. I was so excited and so nervous that I almost peed on my pants. But this is the first time that I so enjoy that if I really piss on my pants,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
That's why you bring a second pair of pants to every show.
To every show. I have to.
Remember that.
Yeah. Even though I've already memorized all the script for like 100 times. In my place, but I still forgot it.
That's the thing with stand-up. Well, that may not have been a bad thing. Maybe it helped you. Do you feel like, so you went up, you practiced all these jokes, and then you forgot it.
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
I forgot for the 1 or 2 minutes. In that moment, I just feel like I'm trying to hold the rope. Because for me, the English language system hasn't built up yet in my mind. So I'm trying to grab that rope, but I just keep falling down. So I just say whatever what I want to say. So I really want to say, I just say a lot of meaningless words, but I just trying to make everybody laugh, and everybody can tell that I'm pretty nervous, but the people, the comedian in LA, they are really supportive. So they give me the claps. So
good job for getting up there. It's scary. I mean, a lot of people, I meet even Chinese people that have lived in America for like 30 years and they still don't speak English. And they're like, how did you learn Chinese so well? I'm like, I was on stage. Like the moment when you're on stage and you forgot the words, you're like, I better just like be funny. I don't have any other plan anymore. I just need to make this work. Like it's such a great tool for learning language to do some sort of performance, because in that moment it feels really important that you make it work. But in reality, if you fail, whatever, you're done with the show. No one's gonna remember you 10 years later. Like, you were that guy who was on stage and couldn't remember what he was thinking for 40 seconds. Like, no one ever would think that.
Yeah, no ever.
So like that's definitely, I think, a good experience.
I actually really agree about the point that you were just said is stand up is the best way to learn the foreign language for me. Because for stand-up comedian, we have to learn about the culture, how people use the normal way to speak the language, not the really strict way.
Grammatically, you have 10 options. Funny, you only have one.
Yeah.
There's like one funny way of saying it, and it has to be grammatically correct, but also I found as a second language speaker, I felt even more pressure to be grammatically correct because I didn't want them, if I have a joke that I say something wrong, you need to totally trust that I know how to say it right and I'm joking. But if I just say something wrong, people will think, oh, he didn't mean that. He just said it wrong. You know what I mean?
I'm not actually, no. It's because in my stereotype, I think, because the funny part about the foreigners is you already try your best to say things right, even though you're wrong, but people will really support about your jokes. But you
I want it to be, if I do that type of joke though, I have to be like wrong the whole show. I can't be right about anything.
Yeah.
So in order to be right about anything, I have to kind of make people think I'm right about something, and then I tricked you. Or like, you know, I have a joke that I was doing where like my Chinese name is Ai Jie Xi. And so like 女孩子一听爱杰西是爱情的爱吗？ And I have to be like, 这不是爱情的爱，它是艾滋病的爱。But I have to kind of set it up with 是爱情的爱吗？ I've shown you I know what a regular person would say, because I did another version of that joke where I just come on and say 大家好，我是艾杰西，艾滋病的艾，周杰伦的杰，西方的西。No one laughs.
Yeah, no one laughs.
Because it was not funny. Because they're like,
it has no setup.
Yeah, there's no setup, and also like technically you could say 艾滋病的爱, but it's not funny unless you show a contrast.
Yeah, you show a contrast that you actually know how to use this language.
Yeah, because otherwise they might think like, oh, maybe he just thinks that's the best way to share it.
Yeah.
I know it's not.
Yeah.
But only I know it's not. They expect me to know very little.
Yeah.
So they assume if I say that, that's a strange thing to say, but they're not looking for it. They expect me to say something wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
I know that. Now I get what you meant.
Yeah.
Because for me, my most struggling part to do the English stand-up is I still haven't know the whole English culture, is it? So I just trying to guess, like people will have this kind of stereotype about Asians. So
have you found so what do you think about the American comedy stereotypes about Asian people? Do you think like, oh, these are all wrong, these are all right? Like do you talk about it? Do you not talk about it? What do you do?
Okay, so like only three things, like Asian male like gay, Asian don't know how to drive, Asian parents are devil.
So are you having to like learn all the stereotypes from zero? Like, or do you know these before you came?
I think I know most of it in Taiwan is because of YouTube. But then there's still a stereotype that I'm not agreeing with. Asian don't know how to drive. The traffic system no matter in Taiwan or China, we are so busy. We are busier than in LA, and you say we don't know how to drive.
It's so funny. It's so funny to have like jokes in LA about bad driving. These are the worst people. I drove from Boston to LA when I moved here. Boston is up farthest northeast to farthest southwest, 3,000 miles. And LA has the worst drivers of anywhere I've seen. And yet people will make jokes about how the Asians are bad drivers. Look, what are you talking about? You have to look in the mirror, literally.
I can tell why they think Asians are really bad at driving in LA. It's because the sun in LA is too shine. So people get So if the small eyes, they assume that
they're like
those
your eyes
Asian.
already weren't open. No, that's hilarious.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it's funny. I felt like when I went to China, part of what I needed to learn is I needed to learn what stereotypes Chinese people had about Americans. So one, apparently we're all fat. We all have guns. And then we're all just really loud. Like, 声音很大, which is hilarious because
you're not louder than Chinese.
That's what I'm saying. That was the funny thing. I was like, I live in China. Like, I loved living there. It was great. It's loud. It's like everyone is really loud, and like the normal quality of voice, like it's just like also like people would. I remember my dad came to China, and the first day he was like, oh, people are like, this is crazy. Like, I've seen like 10 people fighting so far. I'm like, really? Fights in China? That's not normal. He's like, yeah, like, listen to the table next to us. We were in a restaurant. It was just two people talking. Like, he thought they were fighting. He's like, 你下次你来我家，你上次来我家，我就请你吃饭。我不用，现在 and he thought they were fighting because he didn't know what they were talking about.
No.
Yuran, our video person here is losing it. But yeah, 我说的对不对?
Absolutely right. Because
Yeah.
I have I totally agree because I went to China like 6 years ago and I tried to order a food. So I talked to the manager in the store. I was like, 不好意思，我想要点一碗面 you know, because most of the Taiwanese that's how we say.
Yeah.
But they just ignore me. They just ignore. And I have to pretend that I'm Chinese. I have to say like this. 哎哥，给咱来一碗2碗。好客，那来了。So I cannot be polite as a Taiwanese.
不能说不好意思，不一样。
Yeah, because they
won't work.
Yeah, they would think that no, we don't talk to Pusa.
That was the thing that was funny. I remember the first time I went to Taiwan and took the Jieyun, the subway.
Yeah.
I remember I was getting online, and then in Beijing, you go in the subway, the doors open, everybody rushes in from all angles. And so what I did without realizing it, when the door opened, I kind of just like angled myself a little bit, so I was blocking the person behind me. And it was this like 80-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like, why did you just do that? And I'm like, why did I just do that? She wasn't gonna rush on. But then in Taiwan, it's a little bit more orderly. People are gonna come in the lines. They wait for everybody to come out and then they go in. But I realized I was just like boxing out this old lady like I was a basketball player or something like that.
Did you
And I was
mean it?
like, yeah. No, I mean, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, when the doors open, you angle. Like that's how it works. And then I realized like, oh, it's a little bit different. So that was the stereotypes about Americans. They say we're loud, we all have guns, we're fat. And so like I didn't fit.
Agree with that?
I mean, at the time I was less fat, so I really didn't fit. Now who knows? But I think the loud thing, what they mean when they say loud is that if you have an opinion, you will share it. It's not like a yin liang. It's not like how loud you were.
The attitude.
It was that like in China, I've been in a lot of teams, right? And if the boss is talking, everybody listens. And then it's not that there's no collaboration, but you wait for your turn. If you're like furthest person down, you don't say anything. If like the boss is like, okay, like, you know, 到你的团队了，你跟我们说, like, okay, now it's your team, tell us what's going on, now it's your time to talk. But in America, a lot of discussions and collaborations, it's just like, okay, well, you're on a movie set and there's a director and there's an art guy and there's a props guy and there's a sound guy. They will all talk and say, sound needs this, art needs this, props need this. They will not wait for the director to say, props, what do you need? So Americans just kind of, they cut into the conversation.
Oh,
you know?
That's why every time when I was in school, because I just want to wait for everybody finish their topic and then maybe I can raise my hand.
Yeah.
But in that moment, the teacher just can't wait for me to talk. So Wei-Sheng, what about your opinion? So that's why.
So I think that's one of the differences. So we're finishing up this first half, but let's just do one final discussion of your first show. What's a joke that you've been using? If you want to not tell the joke, you can not tell the joke. Because I know as a comedian, the last thing I hate talking about is like, tell me your joke. But like, what's a topic maybe that you found the Americans are interested in listening to you talk about as a Taiwanese comedian?
I have two topics. The one is for sure is about the politics. Now that my first line will be like, hey guys, it's Wei-Sheng, I'm Taiwanese, and maybe by the end of the year I'll become Chinese. This type of the joke.
So like icebreaker.
Pulling the joke. And then I have the joke about because Asian parents always wants to punish me and even put me in the closet, and that's why almost all the Asian males seem like gay, because it's so hard for us to come out of the closet.
Yeah, like literally.
Getting out of the closet. So this type of
that's
jokes.
good. Yeah. So that's really fun. I mean, I think it's always one of the cool things about doing comedy in another country. You do have to find that culture. Have you found it difficult to understand the American culture well enough to do jokes?
To be honest,
Yeah.
it will be a little bit easier than I do in Taiwan. Because as a foreigner, I can use the different angle to deal with the joke. But when I was in Taiwan, I just a normal male stand-up comedian. And maybe I have the same opinion with the other comedian. So for stand-up comedy, the most important thing is about the special angle of the point.
Do you feel like the American audience is able to understand your special angle as a Taiwanese person, or you have to pick very specific things for them to understand?
I think for me, I think my opinion is too common right now. I have to research more about the English culture so that I can give everyone a specific point, and I'm still working on that. But I think the audience in America is so supportive than the audience in Taiwan. So right now I'm still enjoying that. It was so good.
That's great.
Yeah, because the audience in Taiwan for stand-up, they'll just like judge, you know. They'll be like, oh, this is good. The joke is good. Okay, next. Oh.
Well, we'll talk more about that in the second half of the show. We are going to we're going to switch teas. And then, as always, if anybody ever wants to try any of the tea that they've seen here, the Taiwan box will either be in stock or almost in stock by the time this comes out. So you guys can try the Taiwan Oolong sampler with 4 different types of Taiwanese teas. We'll be right back in a moment. I'm Jesse.
I'm Wei-Sheng.
And we'll see you back in just one moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tea Time with Jesse. I'm here with Wei-Sheng.
Hey, guys, it's Wei-Sheng.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to have Wei-Sheng is a Taiwanese comedian who has started your comedy career in Taiwan. Now you're here in Los Angeles, learning how to do American comedy, and a perfect person for me to drink this Taiwanese oolong with. So this is the 5次烫培, the 5 times roasted.
5 times roasted.
Yeah.
Just like me got roasted by Chinese.
Yeah, exactly.
5 times.
It's like if you had to do 5 shows back to back where it's just roasting you, that's what you would look like at the end of it. So this is the traditional charcoal. They use long yan mu, the longan tree wood, and then they put the coals at the bottom of a big like pot, and they have on top of it they put ash, hui, and then they use more ash or less ash to control the temperature. So that creates a very low, even heat that dries all the water out of the leaf, and so it gives a roastiness, but it also means the leaf doesn't go bad, because if you pick a leaf off of a tree, it just dies. So by getting the water out, it means we can do that. So we'll be able to have the 5 times charcoal roasted sample here, which is fun, because I haven't had this since January when I went to China. When I went to Taiwan.
Had this 5 roasted tea.
Yeah, I got a sample of it when I was in Taiwan, and I haven't had any of it since then. So I'm excited for this. And so we have 10 grams of this in our sampler as well, because it's expensive, because it takes a month to make. They have to roast it, rest it a couple days. Take a smell.
It smells stronger.
It's almost like coffee or something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I can smell. It's like GABA, you know.
This is the tea that I think is going to be good for coffee drinkers or like people that are really heavy flavor. And this is the wash steep, so we can pour that out on the tea pets. Here we go. There we go.
Okay.
Or from whoever. There we go. So this will be fun to drink.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Why do we have to pour the tea on that stuff or instead of the plate?
So these are the tachong. These are the tea pets.
Yeah.
So you raise them over time just for fun.
Just for fun.
And this first steep, as you see, a lot of the tea, like like you want to do a wash steep anyway. So people used to just pour it out over the table, but then they were like, oh, why don't I pour this on a little clay figure or like a little animal? So they're just there for fun. It's also like jixiang. It's like, supposed to be whatever. If I pour the tea on the sheep, I'm supposed to have like,
That's why sometimes some people will put Buddha.
So you do that, you get like kind of like chan, whatever. Or like they'll have some like, they'll have like dragons, Chenglong, whatever it is. So you see the color there. It's still oolong, so it's not as dark as like a red tea or a black tea, but it's very dark for a oolong like that. And you can have a sip of what this is like.
I'm not sure did I saw it wrong. Is there's a little pink and
there's a little interesting color in there.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a little.
I like that color.
Yeah, it's a good color, whatever it is. So
Cheers.
Enjoy the
Thanks.
heavy roasted oolong. Very cool. What do you think of that?
For me, I actually prefer the last one. It's because don't get me wrong, I also think it is pretty good. But for me, the last one will be more soft. But
This is a little bit kind of more unusual and smoky and kind of it'll actually get getting darker as we get the as we advance the tea. But this is one of the reasons why this tea, one, it's more expensive, and two, it's a little bit unusual. So in the sampler box, I gave everybody 10 grams, enough for 2 sessions. And then if you really like it, people can come back and buy the 50 gram.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Which is more expensive, this one or the last one?
This one is more expensive.
Oh, this one is more expensive. My tongue is wrong.
No, it's not. But this is the thing: is there's no better tea. Expensive. Why is this expensive? It's using the same leaves as the last one, but it's roasted 3 more times. More charcoal, more like gongyi, like the time of the shifu. He only has so much time. Look at how dark that's getting.
Oh.
So this is getting very nicely dark. You'll taste the difference between the first steep and the second.
So how many times should I just want to ask, because I know with the times that you pour the tea, so this is the 3rd time.
Yeah.
So what is the best time?
I find for oolong, the second steep onward, I'd say set 2 to 5.
Oh, 2 to 5
are the best. But it depends on, again, your taste. Like some people like the tea a little bit less strong. So they might like it when it starts to go down and gets a little weaker. Or it depends on how you make it. Like I've been making these short steeps. You could steep this 3 or 4 times longer, and then you wouldn't get 8, 9, 10 steeps. You would only get 5 steeps. But that's okay if you like drinking it that way. So have a little taste of the little bit stronger. Tea. So the it's definitely got some like darker, more intense flavor in there, but it's still very clean. It's like it's a good one.
After taste this tea, I'm gonna say something that's may be a little bit rude for you.
No, do it.
I can't wait to pour milk and
yeah.
I just can't wait.
This would we're gonna do some experiments with it because you can. If you're adding milk and sugar, you can sometimes use lower quality tea, but it doesn't mean you have to use lower quality tea. You could spend the extra money and make it better. And so we're looking into that. I'm kind of like having in the back of my head to like, how can I make some like milk tea or boba recipes with my tea?
Because that's how Taiwanese do it now.
Yeah, exactly. So cheers.
Cheers.
Very cool. So Wei-Sheng being in LA is great because we get to talk about the Taiwan comedy scene. I went to Taiwan in January and I performed at both Comedy Plus, Comedy Jia, and at 3-2 Comedy.
2-3.
2-3 Comedy. 2-3 Comedy. And those are the 2 main clubs in Taipei, is that right?
Yeah, that's definitely right. Because one of the club, like the Comedy Plus, is the first comedy club in Taiwan, and it was founded by Social Zhang. And 2-3 Comedy was founded by Brian Zheng. Now it's the most popular comedian in Taiwan.
I believe he performed in Los Angeles not that long ago. He did a show in LA.
He did that's a global tour.
Yeah,
that's a global Mandarin tour. So he's the first one.
So Brian, tell people a little bit more about his comedy and why it's so interesting to Taiwanese people.
You want me to share about the Brian's comedy?
Yeah. Or just like, what's Taiwan comedy like in general? Like, what are, like, if you go to a Taiwanese comedy show, what are people joking about? What do they think is funny?
Okay, so in nowadays, most of the Taiwanese audiences like the observing jokes.
Yeah, observational
comedy. Observational comedy.
Yeah,
especially words. Like we can use words to satire the reality, the social issues, the politics issues, because I believe most of the Taiwanese audience they are care about the
politics, younger people, right?
Especially younger people, because we have the risk that we may lose our country anytime.
So then, what other social issues kind of come into there? Because politics, everything in Taiwan, you know, is you know, it's a democracy. Like everybody talks about everything. But like, what are a couple of the main issues with society in general that people wind up talking about?
I mean the man and the female, it will be the sexual jokes. And the politics jokes, and a lot of them are observation and then sexual, and then some of the performing jokes. But the acting jokes, you know, those acting jokes are not really popular. As big as we thought.
I remember both. This is true, I think, of both the mainland and Taiwan comedy scene. Is that I think that maybe it's part of the way education works in Asia, but people think I need to write a script and then I need to perform the script.
Oh, you know what I mean? Yeah, you definitely know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
For us in Taiwan, we assume that stand-up comedy it's like a speech contest. It's like the speech contest. You have to be funny. But right now in LA, I just learned that stand-up comedy is kind of like a lifestyle. Like you're trying to tell people what is your lifestyle. What is your way to look at
How do you see the world?
How do you see the world? But with some acting, not too much, just a little bit to make your act clearly. But in Taiwan we still think, it's a little bit like a script. I have to stand like this. I have to talk a joke. Like, do you ever notice that there's too many people in Taiwan? Yes, I believe so.
There's still a little bit of a speech element to it, which I think is not helping the comedy because some people are good at that. But I think the problem is if you're not good at that, the more you try, the worse you get. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you're not this type of person, like you just look stupid pretending to be that type of person. Whereas a lot of the American comedians, like people start not because they took a class, not because they they're actors. They start because it's like, I want to tell these people what's going on.
Of course.
And then it's like, and like people will just have this energy that's very different from like writing down and then doing the jokes. Do you feel like the audience doesn't like the acting, or the actors or the performers have not used enough acting? Or is it just the style?
It's definitely because our acting skill isn't good enough than the American actors. Right now, at least we're trying to act on stage. Like, did you ever see some of the people in Taiwan? They always look like this and this. And actually, it's really funny to see the comedian act out, but the audience in Taiwan will be like, that's not a joke. That is not a skill. They will be like, oh, this is not high level.
So you feel like the audience will think you're low class and you have too much acting? That's interesting.
Because they think, I think it's probably because of the crosstalk.
So for this, the other thing is like, so 相声, the crosstalk comedy, I studied 相声. This fan is from my 师傅. I 解析弟子拜师留念. So when I apprenticed to Master Ding to study 相声, he gave me this fan. And in the traditional comedy, the 相声, which they have in Taiwan as well, it's back and forth, and it kind of has this impression of being very big. It's like, 你别这么干啊，就说，您这说，我跟你说，这人呐，不靠谱，这特别不靠谱。今天我说你要来录我的播客他进来说中文
我说中文，
他说中文，我怎么翻译？
台湾人说中文有啥毛病吗？
一点不是毛病的问题，是字幕的问题。我刚才这2分钟的段儿，你知道我的消费是多少？
多少？
我也自己也不知道啊。So that's but that's one of those things that I think if you're doing something new, if you're doing the Western comedy, you don't want to be like, and then I went on the subway,
That's totally different.
It's weird.
Because we know in Taiwan we already 习惯要怎么讲。
Yeah, you're used to it.
Yeah, we're already used to the way the comedian should stand straight and talk some serious issue, and then we can move the other.
In the early days of the comedy scene in Beijing, when nobody knew what 脱口秀or like stand-up was, I found that if I kind of pretended I was doing 单口相声, like single person 相声, it worked well. So I'd be like, 我刚从美国回来. It's not all 相声, but it's like, that's not a natural way to say
That's
that.
the speech style that I
腔调, like 语音节奏都有一定的控制.
Yeah.
Like that, it sounds good, but it's also very clearly like not stand-up.
Yeah, that's not stand-up.
And it's interesting because like when I went over to China, I was like, well, stand-up's just a guy talking. How hard can it be to understand what it is? Just talk. But no, it's like, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about it? How are you talking about it? How much acting? How much speaking? Like all these things are like just, some of them are taste, but if you take away too many of them, it doesn't feel like stand-up.
I always feel like stand-up is kind of like an acting way between chatting and performing. And that's the most difficult part because you always have to move your spectrum between them.
Yeah.
Not always.
You have to go back and forth. Yeah. And it also needs to be like clearly described. Like, are you coming to the workshop I'm doing on Saturday?
Oh, of course, on Saturday.
We're going to be doing a comedy Chinese stand-up workshop here at my place. And we invited some performers. And I think one of the key things is that people act at the wrong time. And that makes the joke not work. There needs to be a setup, and then you need to describe the world, and then you act it.
Yeah.
You can't just go right into the act out. If I just say like, Americans are fat, like that's not really that funny. But if I say like, everybody, I came to China, they all thought I was fat. Like I walk in the room like, hey guys.
Then that's fine.
So like they're like, I say everybody thought I was fat, and the audience goes, did they? How did they think that? And now you're kind of in a place where you can act it out. But if you just start up like, oh, Americans are so fat, they're like, oh, this guy is, I don't like it.
That's actually the most interesting part about stand-up because as a comics, we always predict what are the audience thinking about right now. I assume that if I do this, you will think this, and we're trying to miss on is that called misdirection? Trying to do the misdirection.
So for your Mandarin language jokes you do in Taiwan, what topics would you do in a normal set? Like think of your normal set, what topics do you talk about?
About my Mandarin.
So if you were performing just in Taipei, if you were just doing a regular show in Taipei for in Mandarin, what kind of jokes would you talk about?
About my niche, I always like to act out about me between my supervisor. Now it's my supervisor, but before that it's my teacher. Because I'm kind of like the comics lab. Really want to prove that I'm a really strong guy, but I'm actually a weak guy. So I'm trying to use a little bit goofy way to act out about the hilarious about the reality, about the conversation between me and the boss, me and the teacher, me and the parents.
What kind of like conversation is like funny? Like what do you think that like when you talk with your supervisor, what makes it funny?
I cannot make a joke right now because it's so hard for me to remember a joke right now. But I will say that because the boss in Taiwan is actually so like communism. Because they don't care about what you do and what is your future. They just want you to be productive.
Work.
Just work. And if you dare to leave the office earlier than him, then you will.
This is the thing I feel like like a lot of times people assume, oh, you go to Asia, the comedy is going to be completely different. A lot of it is like still people complaining about their boss.
Yeah, of course. the culture is common. It's common. Yeah.
It's funny. I've been in a lot of places to perform comedy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone do a joke about like my boss is a great guy. Like it's like no one ever, never. It's always like everybody's always complaining, which is good.
We are always exciting for if a guy just say my boss is good, then he's gonna roast his
Also,
boss.
like actual question, but also something I heard people say jokes of. Why is Taipei so expensive to rent apartment? It's like it's really expensive there. It was like I remember looking at like per square feet, it wasn't much cheaper than LA.
Yeah.
It's like
the same price.
Yeah, but that makes no sense to me because everything else in Taiwan is really cheap. Like the food is really good and cheap. The transit, like everything else is cheap. Why is it so expensive?
Do you really know why, or
I don't know why.
Oh, you
I don't know why.
Okay, so that's my opinion about why is the house prices so expensive in Taipei. It's because there are so many like millionaires in Taipei, and we think the best way to save our money is not to invest, it's not to put in the bank, it is to buy houses. Although there are still a lot of Taiwanese don't have their house yet, but there are also
rich people have
a lot of houses.
That's
just
true.
more than one, and they will rent those houses, and those like poor guy from the southern of Taiwan to rent those house, and we actually cannot afford them. It's because they are just keep buying and sell it and buy, and if there's a MRT, and then they can raise the prices no matter what.
It's crazy. I mean, I remember like I really wanted when I was in Taiwan last time. It was January. I was like, I want to look into like, could I have an apartment in Taiwan and like, make it a tea room and Airbnb it if we had guests from the channel that wanted to go to Taiwan, they could live in the tea house. And then I did the math and I was like, the rent here is really expensive. Like it's basically the same as if I did this in LA, which is nuts. But everything else there is really nice. I'm a big fan of traveling Taiwan. If you ever get a chance to do it, you should go. If people travel to Taiwan, what are like 3 things they can't miss?
Three things they cannot miss.
Yeah.
If they go to Taiwan, not Taipei, right?
Well, you can say the whole island if you want.
The whole island. So I will recommend people go to 3 places. Yeah. The Taipei and the Taitung and Hualien, and then Tainan.
Okay.
Don't go to Pingtung. Don't go to Kending.
Okay. So Taipei.
Yeah.
So Taipei and then Hualien on the
Hualien,
East Coast.
Taitung. Yeah.
Hualien's beautiful. I love.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
My dream is like if I go to Taiwan, I need to get the motorcycle license. I want to take a motorcycle around the whole island and go back through Tailuge, like the Taroko Gorge in Hualien. And Tainan, I've never been there. What's Tainan like? That's in the city in the far south of China.
The city of Taiwanese foods.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can just spend $10 to feed your all day meal.
Yeah, that's great.
Without tips. Without tips, yo. And and actually $10. Like $10 is like 300 in new Taiwan dollars, NTD in Taiwan, and you can buy you can drink a beef soup in the morning, and eat some chow mein for lunch, and having the whole night market for your dinner.
It's great. I went a little crazy this last time I was back in Taiwan because I was used to American prices again, and then I went to Taiwan and like. There was what's that restaurant in Taipei? There's like there's like shui, like whatever shui ziyuan, whatever. It was like
上瘾水产.
Yeah, 上瘾水产.
Oh, you know that?
Yeah. So I don't know what the name is in English. It's like Addiction Aquatic Development. They had a weird name for it, but that was about as expensive as it gets in Taiwan. And I had like a full amazing sushi meal and a beer for what I think was like $25 US. And like the taco place downstairs here is like $25.
And
So,
actually, that place, which Jesse just went, it's a really cool place. You also cannot miss that in Taipei. It's called 上影水彩.
Yeah, we are not sponsored by them,
we're
but
not.
if you 上影水彩的人看到了要赞什么给我们的节目一些赞助，也可以谈的，可以谈的。
When you go to that store, you can pick
they have the live seafood.
Live seafood.
They have these giant crabs. You could be like, I want that one, and then they'll prepare it for you. Or you have a fish, and they'll go and take it, and they'll prepare it for you to eat.
Really high quality.
Really good stuff. But you don't need to spend even $25 to have good food in Taipei. But Taipei is probably the main city people want to go to, right? And then so in Taipei, what's one thing you recommend?
The night culture.
Yeah.
The bar culture in Taipei, because I'm only 24 years old right now.
太年轻了。
Yeah, so if there's some like Gen Z, because I'm Gen Z, if there's some Gen Z want to come to Taipei, I would recommend them to come with me and enjoy the.
Which bars you recommend?
Which bars I recommend the most?
Yeah, in Taipei.
If I gonna choose one, it's, because right now we're drinking tea, right? And there's a tea cocktail bar. Yeah, and I forgot the name, but it's near a MRT station called Nanjing Sanming, and the bar name is actually called Origin.
Origin. Okay.
Origin.
Yeah. Very cool.
Origin.
So they do tea cocktails. I
Cocktails.
really should check that out.
Yeah,
I'm tempted. I'm tempted to go.
Any type of the tea cocktail, and they will give you like at least 4 or 5 free shots.
Oh damn!
Night.
4 or 5 free shots at night.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah,
How are they
will
making any money?
you. Or maybe I just
maybe they just
handsome
like
for
it.
it.
Maybe
Yeah,
they're just like you know.
But the most interesting part is because the bar in Taipei we open very late, like until like 3 or 4 a.m.
Oh wow, that's really late.
Yeah, so you can go to next club, next bar.
That's great.
Yeah, but if you wanna try some American style bar in the plaza, it actually a plaza called the Margie Square. Yeah, a lot of foreigner around the world want to pick up some Taiwanese girl in that plaza.
Really? That's the place to go.
Yeah.
We'll have all the best info for you if you go to Taiwan. I'm tempted, like as I said, if you, I don't know where I'm going yet, Yunnan, Taipei, I don't know, but if you want to come with me on a tea tour, I have the website jessiestours.com. That is just a mailing list. It's no information. Don't ask me when it is or how much. I don't know yet. But when I figure out the plans for a tea tour, I'm putting it to that mailing list, jessiestours.com. No www. You can sign up. But like, there's so much fun stuff to do in Taiwan. This last trip back was really like it was kind of like a life-changing trip for me in some ways, because I just wanted to go to Taiwan. I hadn't been there since the pandemic. I knew I just wanted to go back. And so I sat on the porch and I made some oolong tea and I said, I'm going to Taiwan. If you want to get any oolong tea, I'm gonna make a mystery box, like a manghe.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then so just if you put down $50, I don't know what I'm getting you, I don't know how much of it, but if I make videos in Taiwan drinking the tea, people are gonna want it.
Yeah.
And so I figure I'll get ahead of this. And then when I landed, we had pre-ordered like 250 boxes.
Ooh.
So my whole trip was paid for.
It's sold out, right?
Yeah, it was like, so unfortunately, I underestimated how hard it was to deal with the Taiwanese bureaucracy. Just so, 这个得盖章，那个得盖章. Like there's like, we had the Jinxuan Oolong.
Is that because of the customs?
It's because of customs in Taiwan and customs in America.
Yeah.
But it was I kind of assumed it would be easier than exporting out of the mainland. It was not easier. Now we figured it out, and the tea that we're drinking now is now available.
So good.
Yeah.
So the 2 example of your tea is actually also from Taiwan, right?
Yeah. So these are both from Taiwan, both from Dongding Mountain.
I feel like home.
In Taichung.
I feel like home.
Yeah, it's nice. So we're just about to be finished. So it's been great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
I want at the end of the video to do what I call a lightning round.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a question and then 1 sentence answer, quick.
Okay.
Doesn't matter if you're right, wrong, whatever.
Okay.
Just kind of sharing some ideas.
That's
So lightning round for Wei-Sheng, Taiwanese comedian in the States.
Yeah.
What's been your most favorite part about LA so far?
weather,
Weather.
sunshine, anytime.
There we go. And what has been the worst part about LA so far?
Tips!
Tips.
I don't want to pay tips anymore. Yeah. That's insane. Yeah.
That's crazy. What have you been tipping? How many percent?
Usually, maybe like 15. The
15.
minimum.
Okay.
The minimum. I
Okay.
usually pay.
15
yeah.
is kind of okay.
Yeah.
What has been a joke that you did in America that bombed? That did badly?
That bond?
Yeah.
This is a pun joke,
Okay.
but I'm trying to say that again.
Okay, go for it.
Sometimes my mom will even wrap me up with the plastic wrap to punish me because she wants, because my mommy wants to show me how hard it is to be a mommy. And, oh, you like that?
I was like, no, I wouldn't say I liked it. I got what you were doing, and I was like, that's not gonna work. I was laughing like, good try.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
I think the only way you could make that work is if it was so slow, like my mommy wanted me to know what it's like to be a mummy. And then it's like so stupid because people are like, oh, that's it? Like, but I don't know, that's just an example. Other thing, if you go to Taiwan and want to see a stand-up comedy show, where should you go?
Comedy Plus in Taipei, anytime. We have all of the Taiwanese comedians.
There we
go. Can't wait to perform to you the funniest jokes in Taiwan. Yeah, come to Comedy Plus.
Comedy, you guys got to invite me out as well. I would come perform. I performed there last time, but it was a great
Yeah,
one.
I heard that, and most of the Taiwanese comics said you are hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I got to get the clips from my show in Taiwan on there. I probably recorded.
Yeah, we gotta do some shows in Taiwan. Yeah, I hope there's opportunity.
And then last thing, I'm trying to think about. Is there any last thing you want to talk to the audience about?
Can I promote my podcast?
Where can they find more of you?
Yeah, right now I'm doing the podcast with a Chinese comedian in LA, Olivia, and we're doing a podcast called 国台拌饭. We're trying to do we have the most speech freedom between Chinese and Taiwan in US.
Yeah.
Because we cannot do that no matter in China or Taiwan. So
Yeah.
right now we're trying.
That's cool.
You just have to search 国台拌饭 GUOTAIBANFAN.
We'll put a link. We'll put a link in the bio.
Or if you want to follow me on Instagram, search Wei-Sheng Lai, WEISHENG LAII.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank
I'm
you so
glad.
much,
I hope you
Jesse.
enjoy your time in LA and in the States. And I'm sure we'll be going back and forth and doing shows for a long time. So
Thanks,
I
Jesse,
wanna
and
fill
thanks
up
for
the
the
thing.
tea today.
Awesome. Thank you guys as well. If you guys are interested in supporting the show, the best thing you can do to support the show is get some of the amazing tea or tea pets or tea equipment. All of this stuff is up on the website. And if you use the code Wei-Sheng10, Wei-Sheng, Shen or Sheng?
Wei-Sheng.
Shen. Yeah, Shen.
Sure, yeah.
Wei-Sheng. Yeah, so use this code,
Yeah.
whatever it says here, 10% off of your order, and that'll be supporting the podcast and supporting all of us. And if you are interested in, I specifically recommend our Taiwan Oolong box. Really, really good. It's all sealed up, so there's no air that's getting into any of the packages, so they'll be fresh whenever you get them. And just very excited to be able to share it with everybody and have the trip from Taiwan finally come to fruition. So very, very cool. Have a good one, guys. I'm Jesse.
I'm Wei-Sheng.
And we'll see you next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.